Welcome to the UK PT's podcast, where we delve into the world of personal training one episode at a time. Here are your hosts, Joshua Mullen and Mark Laws.
So Marvin, we are going to induct you into what we like to call the 27 Club. And basically what this means is we're going to do 3 rounds of a total of 27 questions. And how long are we giving now, Mark? What's the time?
90 seconds per round. So you've got 10 seconds. It's quick fire. 10 seconds for each question and answer.
Can't I just eat a fish?
That's round 2.
Oh, that's normal initiation, isn't it? Okay.
So
I'll just eat a fish after.
Yeah, exactly. So round 1, we're going to cover education. Round 2, we're going to go through your industry experience. And then round 3, we're going to get a little bit personal. Is that all right?
I've got 90 seconds to answer that.
Yes.
All the personal
Is that question
stuff.
1?
No.
Right, go on then. Let's see if I get fired by the end of it.
Time already.
Yeah. I'll say yes, no, but by the time you start, I will have. Right, go.
Abacus.
So round 1, education. In which year did you qualify?
2001.
Who was the education provider?
It was through YMCA.
How long did it take to qualify?
It was a 2-week intensive course through the company I worked for. Then I had a 2-week break. Then I had to do an assessment.
What was the last CPD course you completed?
Course, the COVID rehabilitation program.
Yep, another one. What's the next CPD that you've got your eye on?
I'm actually going through all the life fitness education for ICG at the moment because I'm helping them with some bits. So I'm just going to do all the education just because I want to know it all.
What's the highest level of qualification that you've got?
I bought a degree in Thailand, but I've got probably a MVQ3. Once I got through college and A-level, AS level actually. Yeah, about there.
So
undereducated, yeah.
Should a PT ever be reassessed? If so, how often?
I think we need to start with assessment in the first place because I don't think there's clear rules on what actually negates a PT to start with. I think there's no real, but yeah, you're right. Maybe every 2 or 3 years, maybe. I don't know. I'm completely making that up. Can we go to the next question? Treading water.
Skill did you gain on your PT course that you use most often today?
Listening skills.
Nice. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at your job?
10.
Obviously. I mean, come on. Right.
Another solid 10. That's 2 10s in a row we've had now. Tanya
anyone that says less, don't put them on. Seriously.
Oh, mate, I gave myself like a 6. Are you saying I need to get kicked off?
Yeah.
You probably, I think everyone agrees with you.
Fine. Next question.
Oh, okay. The degree you bought in Thailand, what was her name?
Here's Simon.
Oh, Simon. Oh, yeah, Simon. No.
Simon says
Marvin,
then.
round 2. Please name the most underrated person, product, or thing in the industry.
Oh, underrated. No, that's difficult. That is underrated. Resistance machines.
Please now tell me the most overrated person, product, or thing in the industry.
Anything that's to do with balance.
What book should all personal trainers read, fitness or non-fitness?
Anatomy and physiology, A to Z.
You sure?
Well, if you don't know anatomy and physiology, you're never going to go to train anybody.
I detected a hint of trepidation in your voice.
I just can't think of many books because I can't stand people telling me how many books they've read, but they still can't do the thing they've read in book 1. Oh, I didn't see it. There's a book.
Yeah. Foam rolling, yes or no? Oh, good. For how long did you do gym hours before you worked exclusively as a personal trainer?
Hold on. I didn't answer the foam rolling one.
I thought you said yes.
No, I was just thinking.
Oh, all right. Well, yes or no then?
Yeah.
Are you happy to go on to question 5 now? You've answered that last one twice. Should we do it a third time? Phone rolling, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, good answer. 3 in a row. For how long did you do gym hours before you worked exclusively as a PT?
3 years.
What common fitness myth do you wish you could debunk forever?
Oh, so many. Oh, myths. Maximum heart rate.
What's the best piece of work-related advice that you've ever been given?
Get on with it.
And who would be your ultimate fitness industry podcast guest?
That's a good one. Someone like. How long have I got left? Am I right to just think about this for a minute?
Yeah, you're well within your 10 seconds for this one, mate. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Did you say they're going to be fitness related?
I can't even remember what I asked.
You asked me phone rolling, yes or no?
Oh yeah. Did you like it or not? Phone rolling.
No, but I said yes.
3 times. Yeah, you
haven't got anyone.
It doesn't necessarily have to be someone in the fitness industry, but just someone that would be beneficial.
Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street.
Jordan Belfort. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Last question. What are your favourite 3 exercises?
Favourite 3 exercises? I like a back row. I like a good back. I like a back row. I'd say second one, which is not necessarily for fitness benefits, but running. I just think there's a lot of benefits to running that are not just I can run far or fast. And the third one being really like the burner leg extension.
Do you?
Yeah, it's that horrible, sick, instant feeling. That is a tough one. You only said 3, so it'd be between that and a hamstring curl. Yeah.
Toss a coin.
I'm going to go hamstrings because most people go quads, and I've got big quads anyway, so I'm going to go hamstring curl. Laying down.
Get
Face
a bit
down,
of posterior chain in there.
Got to get it. It's a much better angle for the muscle.
Wow. How are we doing for time, Josh? Should we? Oh, 3 minutes over.
Are we?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, never mind.
Not a world record, but
Oh no, it's all right. It's not the slowest we've ever had.
Well, you've got to think. I've got to put out an answer there that I've got to live by. People could be turning off the podcast.
And we've got to produce a podcast that's got a quick fire round that is quick fire. True. Do us a favour.
Yeah, the answer is in the question and it's in the title, which you never even made that clear.
Well, we'll rewind it and we'll say I'm pretty sure I did mention quick fire.
Okay, put it in the show notes when you said it. I'd like to check that. But,
okay,
all right.
No worries. Well, anyway, before it's Wednesday, Josh, go for round 3, the personal bits. Maybe we might get some quicker answers.
I'll try.
Okay, Marvin.
Although there's a couple of thinkers in here. There's a couple of thinkers.
I'm a thinker. That's the problem. Right, go on.
Are you ready? Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite city you visited?
Las Vegas. Do you know how many cities I've been to? Vegas.
Phone rolling, yes or no?
No.
If you could attend any concert with someone dead or alive, who would be playing?
Michael Jackson.
What was the last TV series you watched or streamed an episode of?
Bloodline, that thing on a Sunday night.
If you could choose anyone to play you in a movie about your life, who would it be?
Ooh, Denzel Washington.
Tea or coffee, and how'd you take it?
Are they 2 questions or one?
That was 2 questions. Tea or coffee?
Coffee. Let's just keep it clean. I'm just going to go white coffee.
Okay. Would you rather go back in time to speak to your ancestors or forward to speak to your descendants?
Go forwards. It's far more exciting.
Nice. This one's a bit, controversial, a bit political at the moment, very current, up to date. Would you rather shag a goat and nobody will ever know, or not shag the goat but everyone thinks that you did?
Second one.
Okay, so not shag the goat but everyone thinks you did.
Yeah, it's fine.
Good choice. Name one thing that's still on your bucket list.
Oh, I was thinking about this the other day. Jesus, what was it? It was... I want to
go to a foam rolling convention in Las Vegas.
To go on a foam rolling course. Bucket list. I want to do Cheltenham because I heard it every year. I say I'm going to go to Cheltenham races, and I never did. Good job I didn't go last year.
Right, that's it. That's round 3 done.
That was much better from me. Can I have some positive reinforcement, Mark?
That was very good. That was really good work.
That was much better, Marvin. Well done. In my least patronising voice.
How we build success.
Marvin, a couple of things in there that we want to just elaborate on slightly. You mentioned...
Not the goat.
Oh shit! Okay, hang on. I've got to change my whole interview now. Oh shit. Okay, let's move on to my second question. Balance.
Yeah.
You had a little pop at balance. I'm assuming that's not because you don't think that balance is an important trait. I'm assuming it's because of the way that people probably sell the importance of it, or the way they probably develop products that are unnecessary. I don't know. I'm hypothesizing. What's your beef with balance?
Okay, if I draw a straight line, a continuum, and put someone that's not good at balance or injured and someone that can balance very well, if somebody came to you with, say, ankle ligament damage, or they want to strengthen their ligaments, would you put them on the not so good at balancing or the amazingly well at balancing? Not very good. They can't balance. Okay, so would you put them in an environment where they can balance and then gradually move them to an unbalanced position, or would you start them in a position where they can't balance at all and work backwards and start throwing medicine balls at them?
Which one do I have 3 Bosus stacked on top of each other?
That's the one where everyone starts.
Yeah.
It's not a hard thing to think about. You don't have to have a degree in absolutely anything. Good job I haven't, but
that's lucky.
That works. The point is, when you stand on something that's totally not balanced, like a Bosu or a balance plate, there's no way of gaining stability. You're already at the most advanced stage you can. And that shaking that you can't control isn't your muscles going, oh, it's so uncontrollable, I better get strong. It's saying, shit, I can't hold this. And if you keep me in this position, it's going to be a problem. Now, I didn't realize the full extent of that until I broke my own leg. And then I sprained ankle ligaments many times playing football, as most people do. And then I remember a footballer called Dean Ashton, and he was doing really well in his career, and he dyed his hair blonde, which was a good sign of a striker when he's dyed your hair blonde. He was scoring goals. He was getting an England team, and they broke his leg. And I heard an interview where he said it was all going well till they made me stand on a rebounder and start doing all these balance activities. Because you cannot gain any stability by being in a position of complete uncontrollable outcomes. It's too aggressive. It's the most advanced stage you could be at because there's no stability whatsoever. So I don't see how by stepping on something that you cannot control, you automatically become amazing at it. It's the same theory of me saying, don't progressively increase your weights to gain strength. Just put on as much weight as possible. And then when it drops on your throat and kills you, you just get strong and you lift it off because you have no other alternative. Your muscles, the proprioceptors, the nerves cannot control a position where there's no stability. And it's back to that continuum. You are more out of control there. It's just the biggest, it's a myth. And it's just the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard. Oh, because I can't do it, it must be good for me. I don't know how that works.
It's especially when you've got an athlete in that example, or even just a person who performs their daily tasks on a solid surface.
Exactly.
By
Further
then
away.
preparing on an unstable surface
Yep.
to perform on a solid surface. It's apples and oranges, isn't it?
It's the most furthest away you can be from a situation. And I can see where it came from. I can see why back then we would think that was the way. But now I've said that, people are sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I've never even thought of it that way." But you've just got to. I think the problem is in fitness. You take whatever someone's told you for granted. You just go, "Okay, that's it then," and you just accept it. And I think that's the danger. That's the good and bad in research. When someone says to you, "We've got 10,000 studies that tell me this works," if you just go, "Oh well, it must work," then you're accepting everything that comes with it. But if you're not part of that 10,000 person peer-reviewed study, how can it ever be right? And it's the biggest argument we get into with people that say, "I'm a vegetarian because of this research," or I do strength training because of that. I mean, the last time that me and you was in a room together, do you remember what it was? I mean, actually, it's not the last time because we can't tell them about that one. The last time we was in a professional capacity together.
Was it Body Power 2 years ago with George North and Anthony Watson there?
Yep. Yeah. And now you've said his name, you've let the cat out of the bag. But Anthony Watson had his foot and his leg in a POC, you remember? Yeah, I think it was his Achilles that he'd done. He ruptured his Achilles. Yeah. And you actually said, go and interview them and they're going to do some live sessions. It was in that sort of performance area. So I got a good chance at the beginning to sit and just chat to him and the other guys about the way they train and what they did. And this isn't a name drop or a dig at anybody at all. But I remember saying to him, "Do you do lots of plyometric work?" Because everyone's always on this HIIT thing. And for some reason, another myth is that to be high intensity, you have to be plyometrically working, which is the complete garbage. All you got to do is elevate your heart rate. Yes, jumping will do that, but no one ever said you had to. But for some reason, we think everything's jump squats. So I spoke to him about it. He said, the two things that we've massively reduced on, which are overrated, but science does back them up because they're done in a research environment where it's true condition, doesn't factor in seasons, weather, or anything like that, is Olympic lifting and plyometric work. He said, I can still gain strength in other ways. It's just that there's been a lot of research on a snatch or a clean. So we're not saying they're not good exercises. But for me, in season, playing week in, week out with fatigue, the risk versus reward of me trying to do that correctly is so great that eventually what happens is the strength coach comes in and says, we must do vertical jumps and we must do cleans and snatches because that's what the research says. But the reality is I've had 4 games in 4 weeks. Plus I'm training on top. My workload's through the roof. And then you've made me try and maximally lift a weight that's 2.5 times my body weight. If that goes wrong, I'm screwed. And that's what's happening. That's what happens.
Plus, if you take one of the Olympic lifts as well, you have to be working, like shoulders get into a very vulnerable position, and you have to be using like ankle, knees, hips as well. So if you've got a rugby player particularly who might have an upper body or a shoulder injury, if their only way of developing power in their lower body is an overhead barbell snatch, well, what the fuck are they going to do next week when they've got a bad shoulder? Like
it's just madness, ain't it, that we take these things for granted. And that's the industry over and through, because I've done, you've done strength and conditioning, I've done strength and conditioning, and Josh probably done it as well. We all know about these things, but we go on a course, the lecturer says, we've got research that says that if you deadlift this weight and if you snatch that weight, you'll get this percentage gains in your vertical jump or your sprint. That's fine. Name me one rugby player that's played any game, whether it's grassroots or professional, that's not come off the pitch with a dead leg, a bruised shin, a dislocated shoulder. I mean, football is a completely different kettle of fish because they come off the pitch all the time with no injuries. But a rugby player, they literally they set their own noses and carry on and tape the fingers together when they're broken and continue the game. It's a real tough sport. So
I played rugby with a guy. He'll never hear this, but his name's Will Martin, and he had part of his knob ripped off in a match, and he carried on playing. So he was running along. Someone went to tackle him, and they grabbed hold of his dick by mistake. And where your dick meets the base of your body, it like tore across the top. And at half time, they taped it up, and he played the second half. He taped his fucking dick back on and carried on playing.
That's just a standard Monday for me.
Oh, Mark.
But on that same note that you make, that same point you make there, Marvin, if you take also into consideration the ridiculously exponentially steep learning curve with learning a barbell snatch, is that sometimes you take a rugby player, I need to get a bit of extra power in him, but he's got a game Saturday, so I've probably got a 2-day window, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, when I can do something when he's not fucked from last game and he's not sort of saving himself for the next game. How many years is it going to take him to get really good at doing a snatch to be able to shift enough load to get those strength gains that the research tells us about? Like, you can't be asked for that because we haven't got 4 years for him to learn it. Just do a fucking dumbbell snatch. Take a hit on the 0.2% or whatever less force production, and at least he can learn it in a second.
That's what I mean. The industry, you've just got to be realistic, and that's where I think that's the difference between experience and not experience, because an experienced coach would just go, look, we've got to be realistic about this, and we're not saying that those exercises are bad. We're talking about the risk in a certain situation. So I think that's what a lot of personal trainers and fitness coaches do get hung up on, is I will only train this way because that's what I believe, and they're never open to other avenues. I always use the example of, I'd never go and do a Zumba class, but if my mum came to me as a PT client, I'd probably send her to there because she needs to learn to enjoy doing something fun and exciting that she'll enjoy that first before she even gets to a point where she's going to sit and talk about sports science to me. It's not realistic to expect them to do that, because you've got to be in love with it first. And what a lot of personal trainers do is go, that's a load of rubbish. Come and do a strength workout with me. You get more bang for your buck, and it's better for fat loss, and it's better for this. It might be, but you're not just trying to balance that. You're trying to balance the stress to it and the convenience of it, and are they going to form a habit from it? And those things won't happen because they're the things that build the accountability that get success. And if you don't get those markers first, you'll never get to your results. So you can tell me that the research says X, Y, and Z. You can tell me that this is a great idea, but the skill a coach needs is to be able to go back to the point I made earlier on, is to be able to listen and then make a conscious decision based on them, not on what you believe. I think there's not enough people that are open-minded, in my opinion.
I suppose that's the problem that you get when, I don't know, let's say a personal trainer does a 1-day or a 2-day course. I don't want to pick on Olympic lifting because I love Olympic lifting. Let's say I go and do a 2-day weightlifting certification. Now all of a sudden on Monday, Barbara and Derek and Gary and Sandra are all doing fucking overhead barbell snatches because I've just learned it on this course. So now I have to make everybody fit that mold. Whereas in actual fact, might not be the best method.
So you could, do you know what? You're right. And just to prove that we're not picking on Olympic lifting, that's no different if it's squats. How many people, I've been doing this 21 years, you boys been doing it a long time as well. How many people have I ever met that comes to me that's got fantastic range of motion in their ankles, and really good hip hinge motion, good posture, lower back strong, core phenomenal, and they can do a squat, no problem, really well? Never, ever has that happened. And the more sport they play and the more exercise they do, the worse they are. Even when you and I have both worked in China, when everyone apparently tells us everyone can squat great there, they can't. It's a complete load of rubbish. There's so many elements to it. And then I've always been this person who's been hot and cold with squats, love-hate relationship, because I love what it can give me, but I hate doing them. But the risk, again, going back to the risk of it, the risk was too great for me. I've had shoulder injuries. I've hurt lower back playing sport. I've had broken legs. So for me, I've got such a buildup of scar tissue and range of motion issues already going on that actually I could just get not the same, but I can get benefits from doing exercises for those muscles a different way. I don't need to always go to a squat and say, well, the squat's the only thing it can do. Because you think about it, it's such a big movement. Like you say, I mean, I remember 2 days into a strength and conditioning certificate, we were still talking about the deadlift. We still hadn't got the deadlift right. It was going on for 2 days, and everyone had bleeding shins and the hands were ripped and mush. It would get going on and on. I just thought there's so much involved. No one's got amazing posture. I think the thing, me and you have even taught course on posture together. No one's symmetrical. No one's got phenomenal movement patterns because everyone's got lifestyle factors that change that. So I think we should need to just be open to things like, okay, they can't do this, but they can do that. Go and do that then. Don't keep making them do the same thing because you know it's not going to work. Revisit it in a few weeks. So do some foam rolling.
The conversation there, although that bit has been impromptu, kind of leads into my first actual question, probably my only actual question. Yeah, no, we're in question one now. Is it, how long have we been? No, question one. So we've established you can hold your own with the best of them in an elite sport setting. I've seen you at trade shows delivering your stationary bike demos. What bike was it? Anyway, I've seen you doing your stationary bike demos to people from elite sporting institutions.
Yeah.
But I've also seen you on stage on a Sunday morning at Fitness Fiesta doing a stretch session to 150 hungover people that are blowing out of their arses.
Yeah.
My question is, in terms of what a person wants and what a person needs, how do you, from a PT's perspective, looking at a client, how do you determine the difference between the two? Identifying what they say they want. I want to do HIIT because it's good for fat loss, or I want to do Olympic lifting because I got a boner when I saw someone doing a video on it, or whatever it is they want to do. But then with your other mind on it, and let's not forget as well, I've paid you to teach courses for me based on very high end, like anatomy trains and the Gary Gray stuff and all of that sort of movement stuff. So there's where is the gap in between the two in terms of giving someone what they want, but then actually what they need?
I don't know there's a straight answer for this, but the best way of me summarizing how I do that and where I get to that conclusion is I go back to what it was like for me at school. And this is the statement people have probably heard me say many times, but I'll use it again because it works. If my PE teacher taught me maths, I'd have an A star in maths. And simple reason, you could both do this. You could probably both list all the teachers at school you liked and all the ones you hated. And the ones that you liked were able to tell you things, or teach you things, I should say, and you just got it. You just understood it because of the way they spoke to you, not necessarily what they spoke to you about. Which is why my conclusion is if my PE teacher taught me maths, I would have been fantastic at maths because the way he could deliver that message. I think some of that's due to sport. You know, like when you play sport and team sports, especially, your communication skills and your ability to work with others does improve. You know, you can deliver a message quickly. Sometimes you have to say it in a way that just gets their attention. It's short and sharp. Go and do this. But other times you've got to run over to a player and have a word in their ear and say, listen, this is what's happening. Work on it, because you don't want to destroy confidence. That's, again, it's a level of coaching which people can't be taught. You've just got to be in an environment to experience it and then take away from it. And so when it comes to every time I learn, I never learn anything in fitness because it was always a hobby. I never went on any course because I needed to go on a course. I just wanted to go on a course, and I still do it. Like I said to you at the beginning, I'm going through some cycling stuff at the minute. I'm not a cyclist, but I'm a million miles away. I just like to know that information because I can take that information and put it into a way of delivering it that people understand. Do I want you to be better at cycling if you're a cyclist? Probably, yeah. But really, I want to know how you develop power and how that power can be transitioned into other things, everyday life. So the true answer is quite complicated, but I'll make it simple. And that's the whole point of it. You try and take the complex information, which I like, and I try and deliver it in a way that you don't know that I'm actually doing it. So when it comes to those 150 people that are hungover, when you listen to what I'm saying, I'm not actually giving necessarily 101 coaching points. I'm just delivering it in a way that at that point in their mind, they can understand and go, I can do that. And sometimes you have to put the funnies on them and make a joke and make it about reach for this, and because you have to use analogies to fit their demographic. You know, if you was talking to a 2-year-old child, you wouldn't talk to them the same as if you was talking to a 30-year-old man or woman, because you have to go down to their level and make it enjoyable and use simplified wording. It's no different in a coaching environment or a teaching environment. So I can't even remember the question you asked, but it's just about making that information sound relative to what you're doing. You know, if you're not interested in weightlifting and I keep talking about weightlifting, you're not going to be interested. It doesn't matter what the topic is. You're not interested in it. And when you take, if it's wants and needs, that was it, I've got it. So when I see somebody, they want to do something, but I need to make them understand it a different way. I get that the HIIT training scenario is that people need to be heart rate 180, sweating and feel like sick by the end of it. But if they're the three things you need from it, I can get you there. I don't necessarily have to do burpees. I don't necessarily have to do jump squats. But if I can at least get you to those 3 points that we all agree on at the beginning, at the end of it, I can then say, did you get what you set out for? Did you achieve that? Yes, it is. Great. You can move on then. Because now you've understood that I can get you to the same destination a different way. And that's all people need. They just need to know what's real and what's relative. And as soon as they understand that, they don't have a problem with you. It's when people don't explain it fully, and that's when they get confused. That's my opinion anyway. I think it's worked so far.
Mate, I definitely have a bias in the whole topic, and it sort of, I think we're on the same page. Obviously, I've known you a long time, and we've spoken about similar things, and we've seen each other in action. But my bias is that I think a lot of PTs, from what I see, struggle to take those backward steps to regress something back to the bare bones, the foundations of what's required. Say, okay, what you want to do, a muscle up? Great, well, let's just hang off this bar and try and do a muscle up. Go on, keep trying, Sally. You can do it. Like, that's never going to fucking work. Let's take 5 steps back and work out what physical demands do we need: grip, shoulder, trunk, technique. Let's go back and learn all of those and then build it back together. And then that's going to get us to where we want to be more quickly. But if as a communicator, I don't explain to the client, what do you want to do? A muscle up? Right, well, come over here. We're going to do, we're going to do a farmer's walk with a kettlebell. She's like, what the fuck? But that's not, I want to do fucking muscle up, you idiot. But go, okay, well, in order to be able to do that, grip is going to be a massive limiting factor. So let's just spend a couple of hours or weeks. We're going to go farmer's walk, kettlebells to improve our grip, and then we can move on to stage 2. Then she understands it, and she understands the journey rather than me just trying to make her do the things she wants to do. That's the sort of the way I look at different terms of what she wants, but I give her what she needs.
What she needs to get there.
But make sure that she can see how those dots join together.
That's and the funny thing is, every personal trainer knows this. They just don't do it, which is why I said earlier, what's the best advice you've got? Just get on with it, because people don't. They think about it and they don't do it. When you pass your level 2, your level 3, your S&C course, whatever it would be, you always talked about programming. There's always going to be the element of what do I want as an end goal. So if you say, a female that's going to get married in 6 months' time, you know where the end goal is. You know it's 6 months. So all you've got to do is work backwards through that 6 months and plot the route to that wedding. Where do you want to be in 6 months' time? Let's break it down into month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're breaking it down, your macro, mesos, your microcycles. Now, we know that, we get that. We've all passed the exam, we've all got the certificate. But when it comes to practice it, guess what? Out the window, we're not doing it. It makes no sense. If everyone just sticks to the actual core principles of delivering the training, actually, you could get by on quite a lot of the information you already have. It's just that we always think that we're trying to be better by pushing the envelope and doing more. And that's what I've learned, is slow down and just actually use what you've got a little bit more, because you can actually confuse yourself by learning too much. And I've definitely fell down that hole before, trying to talk too complicated, trying to overdo the science, or like you said then, trying to make someone keep doing the same skill, even though they've shown that they can't do it. And to be honest, a lot of it's vanity, especially if you're in a busy gym, because you want to be seen to be doing the sexy exercise with clients and the ones that everyone sees, because you think that that's your shop front. And that if everyone sees you doing that other people will come and say, oh, I want to go and personal train with Marvin because he's got people doing all these. Because actually, when Marvin sat doing, little old grip exercise in the corner, doesn't look exciting, doesn't look thrilling enough to want to personal train with him. So actually, it's not about the client anymore. It's about you and your ego. And I think that's where the problem lies.
I definitely have caught Marvin sitting in the corner doing some grip exercises on many occasions. and it wasn't sexy. I tell you now. Marvin, before I hand over to Josh, that exact same question, but I'm going to reframe it. So you've just answered it from Marvin, the PT, dealing with a client, but now from a mentoring perspective. So from Marvin, the educator, speaking to other PTs, the same question: what do the PTs want? But what do they actually need? And where's the disconnect between those two, in your opinion?
I've got one that's never changed. Personal trainers want more clients. Get that. What they need to do is be able to offer a service that keeps the clients. And I tell you why it goes wrong, because everyone's got all these adverts on the phone, on Instagram, and all these paid for ads that say, we will teach you sales strategies. Come on our sales course, how to sell PT. You've missed it. As soon as you register for a sales course, you've missed it. Because it's not about sales. It's about the retention of clients and the engagement of them. Because you don't want thousands of clients, if we're honest. You want enough money that you're happy with, and you need enough amount of clients that you're happy with. You don't need constant amounts of sales leads all the time. If you're someone that's constantly needing more and more sales leads, all that tells me is there's a hole in your bucket. You're leaking clients. If clients are leaving you after 1, 2, 3 weeks, or even months, I know from a personal training point of view, I've got clients that have been my clients for literally over 10 years. They never go anywhere else. Even when I've sat down with them and said, look, I've got a full-time job, I'm busy, and you actually pay me more than a gym membership. Why don't you try a gym membership? Nope. You'll come around my house to train me. Oh, are you kidding me? You don't need me. I do. I can't live without you. And, personal trainers that have been doing it for a long time know that. The problem is personal trainers don't last a long time anymore. They're lasting less and less because they're coming in thinking, I'm going to get loads of sales leads. I'm going to get loads of people. And they don't. What they've got to do better at is plotting what that journey looks like. What does client X get on day 1? What happens on day 2? And until they can get that roadmap, that blueprint of their service, they'll never be able to keep clients or gain new ones because they don't have any service. They're just saying, pay me money, I make you sweat. It's not enough to make me want to keep that payment going at Christmas or when I'm stuck for money. It's just not enough.
Yeah, I've had the same conversation when we're going back nearly 10 years ago now. I was in Fitness First. I was paying rent as a PT, and I was photocopying some like circuit cards for a class, and the photocopier was in the sales room, and there was a sales meeting going on. The GM was sort of putting all the numbers on the board for the targets for the next month, and she was saying to them, she's like, right, let's say I make the numbers easy. So I know maths isn't your strong point, Marvin, so I could say what I want. You'll never know. But anyway, she was like saying, right, we've had 100 members have quit this month, and in order to hit our target, we need to get 50 more members than we used to have. So we've lost 100, we need 50 more, so we need 150 sales. There's 5 of us that are selling memberships, so we've all got to get 30 members this month and we'll hit target. And I was sort of sat there getting my things out of the photocopy. I turned around and I said, why don't you just ring the 100 people and find out why they're leaving? And she said, shut up, Mark, you're just a PT. And I was like, okay, fuck you then. Literally within about 6 weeks, Fitness First had practically dissolved and sold every site outside of the M25. Now, I'm not saying I single-handedly could have saved the business, because I couldn't. But there was just the mentality was the back door's wide open. People are fucking pouring out of it because the machines haven't been wiped down. Someone had a shit in the shower and it's still there 2 days later. There's 4 spin bikes out of order, etc., etc. And that's why they're leaving. There's because it's not like there's banner times is double the price. So it's not like there's loads of competition. It's just there's too many people are leaving. If you stop them leaving, then you get a real core nucleus of die-hard customers.
Yep, straightforward. And as a PT, you don't need that many. That's the thing. You don't need that many to say. So we spoke to Simon Herbert about 4 weeks ago. He has 10 clients. Yeah. All right, he owns a gym, and the gym's got but he's in the background a little bit more with that now. In terms of PT clients, he's got 10, but they pay it's 10 grand a year, 12 grand a year, I think it is.
So it's a good income, but it's very, very, very high-end, bespoke, only 10 people. Gets to 10, stops. Not desperately. Well, if I had 20, 30, 40 people on like that, I'd be a fucking millionaire. Just 10 and do it really well.
That's it. Do what you can really well, and you won't have a problem. The problem is we're not doing what we do. We're not doing what we think we're doing very well, and that's why we've got a problem. So that's where I think we just need to stop and reflect for a little minute and think about this. And not to date this, but you can see the ones that have got that, because coronavirus has just diluted the industry of the people that had a business or the people that had a job. The people that had a job literally turned up, thrashed people and went home, don't have anything now, and they've had to look for new jobs. People that had a business that thought about their service, what they offer, that message their members, give aftercare advice and do all the things to look after them to make it a better service. They're the ones that have been absolutely fine through coronavirus.
The wheat and the chaff have definitely been separated, haven't they?
Massively. I said this. I've been on 2 other podcasts recently. Obviously, none of them as good as yours, but the same question's been asked to me about that, and I've not heard anyone say it yet. But I'll say it again. I don't mind if I'm the first, last, or other people have, and I've not realised it. We won't probably come to agreement on this until probably a year's time. Coronavirus is the best thing that's ever happened to the fitness industry, by far. And the reason why I say that is because you and I have both lived and worked in China. I lived there in 2017, but I've been going back and forth for many years. Even now, in 2021, we're still not anywhere near as developed as I was in China in 2017. We're way behind, digitally, technologically, everything. But we can easily look at these countries and say, oh, well, they've got these poor areas and all this. They've got one phone app, WeChat, that just absolutely, and unless you've lived there and had a bank account, you won't know how good it is, because you need to prove that at the bank to get access to it. But I never saw money in over a year because everything was on this one app. It was your Instagram, your Snapchat, your bank, everything, your utility bills, everything in one app. It was phenomenal. And everywhere you went, you could split bills. We'd sit there, we'd order food. We could reserve our space at a restaurant, order drinks when you sat down. All the things that we panicked and had to put these apps together for in coronavirus. Yeah. They just do that.
Billions and billions of pounds. Yeah.
In China, it's called normal.
Yeah.
It's the normal.
Yeah. There's a sort of 100%. There is almost an arrogance from the developed Western world, the US and the UK, from a fitness perspective, but also in a lot of other areas. There's this definite arrogance that because we've always been so many steps ahead of the rest of the world, we're still so many steps ahead of the rest of the world. And we haven't. We've been fucking treading water for so long. And as you find out in professional sport, you stand still, you might as well be moving backwards because everyone else is chomping at the bit to improve. Yeah. And now with like technology, you take like the last 5 years, the last 25 years, things have changed so quickly. We're like an oil tanker, like turning so slowly, and it's so easy to get stuck behind. And for me, the beauty of the coronavirus for the fitness industry was the fact that all of a sudden on Friday, your gym was open and you can go and use your platform, your squat racks, your pull-up bars. On Monday, you had to still give people a session that warranted the money they were paying for, but they're in their fucking dining room. Yeah. And that's it. They've got nothing. And you're like, oh, Boris is such a wanker, shut in the gyms. I can't use the squat rack. Well, you're an idiot because you don't need the squat rack. Because if you understood what the squat rack was achieving and you could then tweak session to be able to do it in someone's dining room or their spare bedroom to be able to still give them something of value, that is a fucking coach with a long-term career ahead of them, not somebody who's going to have to go and do DPD deliveries in 2 weeks because their clients don't want online sessions.
Yeah, because they don't want online sessions because you've not got a good enough service to offer. That's the answer. And you can blame your app, you can blame your this, you can blame that. It's you that's the problem. because you've got to find a way around that. So
yeah,
that's
I've been saying the same for a few weeks, and that's the thing, that get a lot of people that say that go, oh, I can't wait to get back in the gyms. None of my clients want to do online sessions. No. They don't want to do your online sessions because they're fucking shit. Because you don't care about it enough, so you don't frame it well enough, you don't sell it, you don't value it, and the sessions are shit. So therefore, they might as well just type Joe Wicks into YouTube and do one of his freebies because it's no different.
And consider that good.
But being a personal trainer 10, 15 years ago, a personal trainer just administered exercises in a random order. Now, people are a bit too savvy. You can't just get away with that. There's so many more, like I say, like the accountability, the environment, the lifestyle, the pat on the back on a Tuesday night when they've had a Big Mac on the way home or whatever. There's more to it than just seeing someone for an hour, giving them some exercises, and then see you next week sort of thing, isn't there?
Biggest problem we get is we neglect that. I think that was the difference between when I was younger, I did my sports massage qualification as well. And part of your assessment for sports massage, there was a whole unit on aftercare. So once you've delivered the massage, you have to then say, right, this is your immediate advice: drink water, don't drink alcohol, blah, 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 stay warm, all those kind of things. There was a section on aftercare on how to follow up. And then it was like, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to follow them up in 48 hours, talk to them about DOMs, which they might have. There might be some bruising come out. And then you give them some home exercise stretches. And I remember doing that, thinking, we never did any of this on our PT course. It was always about the session, never after. But as soon as I did sports massage, it was about your aftercare. I just thought there's a definite disconnect in the way we look after people. So,
well, even if you're lucky enough to have a client that does 3 60-minute sessions a week, that's 2% of their time.
Yeah.
So what do you think is more important? The 2% when they're with you, either online or offline, or the 98% where you're nowhere near them? Probably, no matter how good the 2% bit is, probably the other stuff can negate it and override it, or completely make it worthless if the 98% isn't in order.
That's it. I think there's also a bit of you look at social media, and I think one of the issues is, and I'm trying to be empathetic because it's quite easy to dig on personal trainers about what they're not doing, but I think one of the reasons is they kind of put their own barriers up against themselves, and they need to be a bit more confident, because they're worried about putting things on social media because of what other coaches would say. It's not them that you're trying to convince. Sometimes you can say, well, I've done it before. I've recorded a video. I thought that's a bit simple, but it needs to be simple because the people I'm trying to attract don't understand that. I always said, if you want to be a best-selling author, just write a book on stretches, because you can't copyright a quad stretch. Anyone could do that. So there you go. There's your first business nugget for you. But then what I would say is, the people you follow on your social media feeds, whatever the platform is, me, you and Josh, I guarantee that if we look through the first 10, they're all going to be different people in the fitness industry doing fitness. So if you're looking through it and you go, oh, there's Joe Wicks, there's Marvin, there's Mark, there's Josh, you see all these people doing online this, coaching this, make sure you sleep more, make sure you reduce your stress. Because we keep seeing it, we think it's normal, everyone knows it. But the reality is, going back to those numbers and data, the amount of people that actually go and do health and fitness and exercise in any capacity is probably, and I'm going to estimate this because I don't know the exact figure, but it's less than 10% of the country actually do anything that's health and fitness related. I mean, if any of you two know the exact figure, but I know it's a low number. What I do know is that the majority of people in this country know absolutely nothing about health and fitness and exercise. I know it for a fact. When you talk to them about, balancing your food or even eating something that's slightly healthy, not got a clue. So you can easily say, as a fitness professional, I make it more fitness professional orientated, this conversation. You can sit there and say, I'm not doing it because everyone's doing it. Biggest mistake you've made. Yeah. I'm not going to do online fitness classes because Joe Wicks has got everyone watching it. No, he hasn't. He's got hardly anybody. Hardly anybody watches it. But because he's on the front of the paper, you think that he's got everybody watching it. You don't need many clients. And the other thing is, anyone that's taught group exercise knows this. You don't go to the class necessarily because of the content. That is part of it. You go because of the person delivering it. You go because of the personality, the person you get on with. So I guarantee that there's some village hall instructor that's done his or her level 2 course, that their die-hard audience would rather go to their online fitness class on a Zoom link that runs out every 40 minutes with no real sound system, rather than watch Joe Wicks on BBC or whatever channel is on, because they know Samantha or Kevin, whoever's delivering it, and they've got a rapport with them. They're the people you want. And they'll probably pay for that. You know, that's the ironic thing. You're doing yourself a disservice by saying, I'm not doing it. You've got to get on with it and do it. And if someone else is doing it, it's probably because it's right. And if someone else is doing it, just copy it. That's the other thing. The wheel's round because it's around for a reason. Every time a new car manufacturer comes out, they don't try and make the tyre square and triangle, because we know a wheel works, right? So you know how the body works. You know these things. Bang the drum as well, because the more people that do it, the more people we can reach. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by saying, I'm not going to put this on social media. I'm not going to do a video, because no matter how simple it is to you and to me and Mark and Josh, it's still going to affect somebody else. Your mum, your sister, your grandmother, somebody will watch that who will go, actually, it's not that healthy to have a pint of orange juice for breakfast. There are sugars in fruit. I never knew that, because when I was younger, they told me to have fruit because it's good for you. Because that's the mentality people have got. And it might sound like I'm joking there, but that is actually it. You know, you say to someone, be healthy. Okay, no problem. What will I do? Okay, I'll eat when I have my kebab tonight, I'll have the lettuce. That's healthy. You know, eat 5 a day. Okay. You've been in China. Best example, healthy muffins. Come and eat your healthy. Every Starbucks has got healthy muffins on there. Protein flapjacks. Yeah, all right. And it's got some seeds on top of it. But what's the seeds on top of? 10 tons of sugar. You know, there is the education's not there. I remember watching that Marcus Rashford thing a few weeks ago, and they were talking about this working credit and this £5 a week to get a meal, and it's not being enough. And I've sat there and I've gone, I get it. I understand. It's not much money. But you know what? If you could bring back in, can you remember when Jamie Oliver did the school dinners and he proved that on a small budget, you can make a healthy dinner? Why couldn't Marcus Rashford take that £5 and say, right, I know that £5 isn't a lot, but I'm going to show you how to spend the £5. Because the problem is they're spending £5 on fish and chips and saying it's not enough because they want curry sauce with it. Whereas if Jamie Oliver could come in and go, right, and I'll take the £5 and show you what to do with it. This is your shopping list. This is it at Morrison's. This is at Tesco. This is at Sainsbury's. Right, I've given you now the best idea in the whole wide world. Someone listening to this surely is going to do that, because they've just gone, Marvin's right. £5 will take you a long way. Someone's going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't know if you two are. But they're the kind of things that people need to do, because that's all Joe Wicks did.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He took something that everyone else thought there's too much of, and he just replicated it. Because Jamie, his 15-minute meals weren't his 15-minute meals. They were just someone else's. Just take recipes out of any book and redo them. Come on, people. What's wrong with you?
Even the supermarkets, it wouldn't even hurt for them to have a section that's the £5 box. You just go up, grab your box, and there's £5. Get 7 of them. That's your 35 quid for your meals for the week. Natasha went down to, it's either Aldi or Lidl, I can't remember which one, and she got a joint of pork. Yeah. And she chucked it in last Sunday, and we had a joint of pork and a load of a Sunday roast, a load of veg. It was a fucking good meal, but we had so much pork that there was enough for another meal. So the next day we had a stir fry. So we've had 2 big Sunday roasts on the Sunday, 2 big stir fries on the Monday. The joint of pork was £4.
Exactly.
So it's like £1 per head per meal, and vegetables don't cost a fucking fortune. No. We're looking at probably about £2 a meal.
Yep.
And they were big, healthy, good, well-prepared meals. The problem is, can everyone be asked to go to drive to Aldi or Lidl to peel their parsnips and to chop them, to boil them? I mean, it's not hard, but it gives people too many excuses not to bother, doesn't it?
Too many reasons not to do it. You're right. Well, I think that the problem is people, they won't find that time until there's a problem, and it's unfortunate. It's the cancer scares and the obesity epidemics and the diabetes, or it takes you to lose a close friend or a relative for you to then actually value your own health, which is a real shame. I mean, how many times in your personal training career has someone said to you, I can't eat healthily because when I cook a healthy meal, I have to cook twice because I've got my husband and the 2 kids to cook for as well. I've gone, oh, so you're all right with them eating crap, are you then? So you've just told me that you need to do it because it's good for your health, but you've then said to me in the next sentence, you're not going to do it because it means that you're going to have to make other people around you healthy. What kind of thought process is that?
Great, isn't it?
Anyway.
Prevention is always better than the cure, isn't it?
It is. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But you've got to want it, and that's the thing. I think there are people that have, I mean, look at Boris Johnson, whether you love him or hate him, he's had coronavirus, he had a bit of a scare, and he's thought, God, I better pull my socks up here. He's got himself a personal trainer, lost a couple of stone. So what else, if he's doing it, then why won't everyone else? It doesn't take much. We're not saying go and join David Lloyd and pay 150 quid a month. We're saying go and do some activity, get more steps in your day. They're not, the stuff that we say in art isn't sports science or rocket science. It's just basic. It's just do a bit more, eat a bit healthier, be bothered a bit more, and you'll feel a bit better. But we're the converted, and that's what we've got the tough job, because we've got to convince other people. That's why we need more people to keep rallying that message, because it's good for all of us. That's the way you got to see it. Anyway,
agreed.
That was serious. Well done, everyone. It's very serious, that was, Josh. Josh, bring us back down to earth.
Lighten the mood for us, will you? Ask him a silly question.
Sing us a song. Something.
What's your favourite item on the McDonald's menu?
Ooh.
I haven't been to McDonald's for years.
Do you know what? I'll answer that for Marvin. Traditionally, I am a Big Mac man through and through. Very recently, I had a quarter pounder. Preferred it, I think.
I wouldn't know. Do you know what? The only thing that I would crave on a McDonald's menu, because I honestly, I'm not even making this up. I haven't been for absolutely years. Over 10, way over 10. I wouldn't know what's on it. The only thing that I wouldn't even consider going in there. I just wouldn't. It's not even an option. If I've been on the motorways, hundreds every day, millions of times, starving, hungry, and I've gone, oh, there's only McDonald's, I won't go in there. I just don't. I don't know why. I've got force field against it. But the only thing I'd probably crave would probably be a milkshake.
So next time we're all at Body Power, we're going to do a taster menu for you. We'll get one of everything, and we'll record it, and we'll just get, we'll let you taste everything, like a wine sampling menu, but with nuggets, Big Mac, that sort of stuff. So,
sounds good.
Going back to something you said earlier on about retention, having a leaky bucket, which we all know that Mark has a leaky bucket anyway. But with what would be your kind of top practical advice if you had a personal trainer in front of you right now that said, look, Marvin, I know you love and hate foam rolling, but what would be your main retention advice for a personal trainer? They're losing clients. What should they do?
They need to prepare what their actual service is. And I need it written down. I need to see it, because people have in their head an idea. And by that, what I mean, and I know this for a fact, because I've worked with and still help many personal trainers do it, which is, what's your welcome email look like? Show it me. What's the first, day one when I sign up for a personal training session with you, what's the advice that you send out to people? Where's the preparation? Where's the email or text or phone call that says, these are the things you need to bring, this is where I'm going to meet you? Where are these things? Because they're all in everybody's head, but they're not actually written down. And most of it, if not the majority of it, can all be automated. That's the worrying thing. It can be an automated email chain that goes out on day 1 and day 3 or whatever it might be. And that's what the gyms have. That's what they call their CRM. Yeah. And their automatic CRM sends out, whether it be a text message or a thank you or a booking acceptance link that says thank you for booking, or that. Where are those things? What's your booking procedure? What is your aftercare advice? What's your nutritional approach? And I would like to see it all. And I think what a lot of personal trainers sit there and think, God, I do it all, but I've not got it all written down. I would say to most personal trainers, take time, write it all down, get it all made, rewrite it. The startup is harder than administering it, because once you're doing it, it's a business. Then it's an operational business. You can just keep duplicating, because the welcome email is the welcome email. You don't need to send it more than once. The hydration tips are the hydration tips, but you still need to map those out and when they get that, because you can't do that all in one day. If I give you all the sleep, stress, all that advice in day 1, you're just overwhelmed. So when are you going to drip feed that out there? So my number one tip would be to get a proper business case put together and a business plan and map it all out. And I know that those words sound quite scary to a personal trainer, but it doesn't need to be in a format where you're going to get you into Oxford and Cambridge University. It just might be a piece of paper with a pen, and you just go and sit somewhere for 10 minutes with a bottle of beer and think about it. Because it's, you've got to think how you're doing this. Where are you storing your material? How are you writing your programs? Where are those programs stored? What's your process? And if you haven't got one, that's your first starting point. Because a lot of personal trainers do that thing where they just make up the session when they turn up. And I think that's your biggest sin, because you wouldn't go if you walked in the doctors and they went, "Oh, what's your name again?" "Oh, yes, Marvin." "When was the last time you came?" "Oh, I came 2 years ago." "Oh, yeah. Have you had anything wrong with you before?" You'd be like, "Is this doctor for real?" Now, I'm not saying that we need to be doctors, but what I'm saying is a doctor shows the way we regard doctors highly because of their professionalism, their organization, their prescriptive way they come across, and the way that they look after us and show care and attention. What's wrong with doing that as a personal trainer? I don't see why you wouldn't want to be regarded as highly as a doctor. So next time you're walking around a gym with a client, wherever it might be, and you've got nothing in your hands, not even a pen, you're not even making any notes whatsoever. And if you don't know what notes to make, by the way, that's also it's worrying, but it's also something that you need to address. It might be that you go and spend some time with a personal trainer, because you guys have probably done it as well. I've taught personal trainers, thousands and millions of them, and if you ask them how many of you have had a personal trainer, very rarely does someone say yes. Very, very rarely. And I think that's the problem. Come on.
That's a point that I made in the last episode, is that so many PTs, the vast majority, as close to 100% as you can probably get, will never have experienced a personal training session from the client's shoes.
That's
so
right.
Why not? Even if you have one session a month with a different PT in your area, and you invest 30 quid a month in yourself just to have one-off PTs with a different person every time, even if that just gives you a snapshot, even if it's the shittest PT in your town, that will probably give you more confidence that your system's better than theirs, your programming was better than theirs, your assessment was better than theirs. That will give you more confidence than if you go to the bells and whistles PT and you think, fuck, that is where I need to aspire to be. There's so much to be said for just investing in yourself. And we talked about it last week as a PT, having a PT session, but then also the same thing applies to sort of a business mentoring kind of like a professional aspect as well. Having somebody that holds your hand and tells you what to do and when to do it. Because if we're telling the clients, you can just go and Google insanity workouts and do it for free. However, when you come to me, the value that I bring is regressing or progressing it to your specific needs and requirements, to hold you accountable, to make sure that you actually do it, to find a way of making it fit into your lifestyle. And yes, you can do it for free, but by paying me a small fortune, I'm going to make sure you actually get it done. But then so few PTs are willing to do that same thing to better themselves in a professional standing.
Yeah, I think one of the most valuable courses I ever went on was my project management qualification. And it was actually at Rolls-Royce in Derby. If you've been to Derby, you'll know about Rolls-Royce, Mark. I mean, you might know.
Is Rolls-Royce there, is it?
Yeah, it's Rolls-Royce.
Next to the Skoda factory?
No, it's Toyota.
Oh.
He was doing so well. There might be a Skoda factory there. I don't think so. Either way.
Near Cadbury's World?
No.
Oh, no.
It's Birmingham. We're like there. But Dudley. Right. Okay. So if someone said to me, it's actually a client of mine, and she said to me, I work at Rolls-Royce, and we've got these project managers, and it's basically the same course that you go on, regardless of whether you're working at aerospace, engineering, or planning a kid's party. They were exact words. I was like, okay. I looked into it. So I went this project management course, and it just taught me a system of looking at whatever you want to achieve and putting all the plans in place, like a flow diagram of action points of how you do it. I just went on it, and I just thought, actually, all the people in there were like corporate people, suited and booted. I rock up in a Adidas tracksuit and Nike trainers. I was really out of my comfort. I was the odd one out. Let's just put it that way. So I went there, sat on this course, did it, learned the course. Thought, actually, it's really good. I can apply it to what I'm doing, and that was, for me, that was like a groundbreaking moment, because I looked at so many personal trainers differently. I mean, I've got 4 at the minute. It's not common knowledge. They're all friends of mine. They all do phenomenally well as personal trainers. They earn a lot of money, but they don't have the time or the capacity to plan all of this out. They just don't. And they said to me, right, I want to earn a certain amount. If I can pay somebody a small amount to get me to that amount, then I'll do that. So they literally came to me and said, what time have you got? Is it 4 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 5 hours a week? I'm going, right, I can give you 5 hours a week. I could do that in and around my job and the family. What do you need help with? And they just say, I need you to do this. It might be design me a questionnaire that we can send out automatically. Design me a nutritional questionnaire to do this. And it's not, they could go and buy it off of a resource document. There's plenty of websites out there that do it. But going back to that thing I said about teaching group exercise earlier on, they know me, they've got a rapport with me, they know I can do it. And I'm just doing things like going on Canva and editing that, or editing a video for them they can put on a social media, because you've just got to admit where your strengths and weaknesses are. You know, all the things that I'm telling you now, make an automated PDF or a welcome email. If you come to me and go, look, Marvin, I'm a personal trainer for a reason. If I could do that, I'd work in ICT and I'd probably earn more money doing it. And I accept that as well. It's been hard for me to learn it because it wasn't my comfort zone to begin with. But as I've got older, I've learned from almost like a business mentoring point of view. If I can just help you with a few of those items, the editing, the cropping this, the doing that, the admin stuff that you hate doing, I can do that because that's what I've got time for. But it takes it off your plate, and then I'll give it you back and it's all yours. Go and do it. Then it makes your business look better, so you will earn more. And that's the way I've done it. I've got 4 people I do that for that earn phenomenally well. They've got, you know, good client base. They're very professional. They've got lots of followers on social media. But behind that, like all social media superstars nowadays, you can't do it on your own. You've got to admit, you can't do it on your own, and that's fine as well. So why not do what you said, like make a bit of a coalition with a few of you other health professionals, other personal trainers that have got other skills. Why not club together and pay for a trainerized app subscription or a Zoom business platform so you can do longer Zoom calls? Why not do that together, club together and do it as one under one email account, and then you helping each other, aren't you? So I don't know if that answers your question, Josh. That was a long one, wasn't it? But I think that's where personal trainers are definitely getting mixed up and flustered. They need a bit of help, and there are people to help you. So that's the way I'd see it.
Sorry, Josh, do you think, Marvin, all of that stuff is more important than arguing whether a split squat or a lunge is going to activate my quads or my glutes more or less than the other, and therefore this one's 0.7% more glute activation, so therefore it's the best variation? Like, how much more important is it?
You're not even, it's like talking about something that's not even going to happen. You're never going to get to that. That's the reality, is you'll never get to that level of client. Yeah, we all came into the fitness industry saying we're gonna, you know, I was like, I'm gonna first of all train the Spice Girls, and when they're too old, it'll be Girls Aloud. Then I'm gonna be their tour PT, and I'm gonna go around the world. I'll be picked up by Real Madrid football team, and I'll train all the professional athletes. In your head, that's as a young personal trainer, you was gonna be a superstar. You were gonna learn, and then you went into all these debates about muscle activation, all that. Never did I ever even get anywhere near that. I've enjoyed what I've been doing. I've done it a completely different way. And your route that you plan through the industry and your career is going to be way different to everyone else's, which is why it's good and unique. But the reality is, you're arguing about stuff that's irrelevant. I mean, it's important if you want to go and do research methods and PhD reviews and all that, that's absolutely fine. If you want to be the one that's named on a white paper, but that will not get you any more clients than the person down the road that's just really good at talking to people. You know, everyone knows the good PTs are the ones in the club. Everyone knows them. They've got good personality and character. You don't have to be the most knowledgeable. I've got plenty of friends that have got the level 2, the level 3, and pretty much that's it. And they make twice the amount of much money than I do, because they put their heart, life, and soul into helping others, and that's what they do day in, day out. So you can have qualifications. I used to go and chase qualifications. I'd fly all over the world. I paid 15 grand for one qualification. And did it help me? Yes, it did. But it's because I went down the education route. Whereas actually the practical route of actually working in the gym and helping people, it made me a better coach. I don't regret any of it. I had to do that to get here. But the reality is, if you want to work in a gym and you want to build a business and you want to be a sustainable personal trainer, it's about how you apply it. Just like I said earlier on, it's your maths teacher teaching you PE. That's nothing to do with qualifications.
Boom. So,
Josh, sorry I interrupted there, but back to you, mate.
I will never ever forgive you, Mark. That's it for me. I'm out. I'm done.
I just got over it.
Good. So, Marvin, we've got a lot of personal trainers, thousands of them, that are going back to gyms in the next few weeks. So, what is it now? 4 weeks, I think, until the gyms.
Three include four. Well, three is it? Or 4? April 12th.
So, do you have any kind of key pieces of advice for people that are going back into gyms that might be worried about it, transitioning from online to face-to-face again?
Not at all. Just treat it as almost like the opening party. Welcome people back and reflect on what you didn't do, or maybe you've heard on this podcast, and start with a clean slate. All of your members and all of your clients or any new prospects that you train now, they all start with an established benchmark fitness test. However that fitness test is, however you perceive it to look like, that's fine. But you must start off with some kind of data capture, which then sets the rest of that going. And then you set targets that are realistically spaced out. So don't go right in 12-week periodized programs for people that are just getting back to the gym. In your head, you need a 12-week program. And by all means, I don't mean don't write it down for yourself, for your own planning. But once that client walks in, your aim is to get them from April the 12th to April the 19th. You've got to move in smaller steps. I think that's the biggest sin we have. It's probably because of sports science, because we look at 2, 3, 4 month programming blocks and these whole periodization programs. But the reality is they're not athletes. They're not in a season. They're not doing that. They're real people, and we've got to build that accountability back up again. So my advice would be start with, use the next few weeks to get yourself into a better position so you can service them more, and also learn from what you didn't have on lockdown 1. Because if in lockdown 1 you went, oh, I've not got those online workouts, I've not got those stretch videos, I've not got those aftercare advice bits, do them. Because no one's saying that this won't happen again. No one's saying we might not be another lockdown. And all it's done is highlighted to me that people weren't prepared. It's like when it snows and everyone in Sweden says, God, those English people are so stupid. They can't even drive in a little bit of snow. We've got it over our roofs every year. Every year it snows, but we're never any better prepared, are we? Because we never learn from our mistakes. Yeah, you got your snow chains. So do you know what I mean? It's exactly the same analogy, though. We've got to learn from mistakes and not let them happen again. Someone needs to tell the government that. But what I'm trying to say, for you and your business, if you couldn't survive, in this pandemic, you need to think of why that reason is, and don't let it happen to you again. So make yourself bulletproof.
I think that's really good advice. So the reason why I was laughing about the snow thing is, as Mark knows, and a lot of the guests have heard, and the viewers and whatever, I'm into survival and preparedness. I do it.
You mean you live underground?
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, someone's just started drilling outside, if that's what you can hear.
Well, you're a survival guy. That's not how it goes.
sounds like she's enjoying it.
All right. And I think the whole preparedness and being ready for all the different eventualities is so underestimated in the fitness industry. Like you say, we were fucked. Most people were fucked. The first lockdown happened, and everyone that I know of, except for maybe 5 or 10 people, were blindsided because I got hit by a bus. So with that being said, is there anything that you have done to prepare, like to make your business or what you do more resilient moving forward?
It's a bit harder one for me because my actual day-to-day job's a bit different to what people think, because I'm very much office-based anyway. I work from home anyway. What I did do is go back to my roots, more to help people more than anything else. So I started doing, the online workouts again to help people and all that. But, I've got simple things for anyone if you're not watching this, I've got a plain black background behind me. And only reason being, over the last year, I've been in my daughter's bedroom, I've been in the kitchen, and I've been in the lounge, but I have an office. It's just been either freezing cold, so I've not come outside in there, or it's just not in a state where I could actually deliver something professionally. So I've gone and got myself set up. I've got a backdrop now that's just plain. So it doesn't matter if you've got a lovely door there, Mark, you've got a lovely bookshelf, Josh. I don't have a lovely wall behind me, and I don't have a lovely bookshelf. So I literally got a black sheet from B&M made of square and put it on behind it, because I know that I'm going to be doing online webinars, talking, podcasts for probably a long time, I've gone and got myself a proper podcast microphone because I know that I'm going to be recording audio all the time. There you go. We've all got them. I've got myself something called an iRig, which is basically an audio cable that when I'm delivering online classes, you plug your speaker into it, and what it does is, rather than your speakers on your laptop trying to pick up the sound of your voice and the music, which it can't differentiate between. If you watch anyone do online workouts, it sounds terrible. An iRig pumps all the sound directly into your computer, so the other person can hear the music crystal clear. They can hear your voice through the microphone perfectly. So it's things like that. It cost me, it was 15 quid on offer on Amazon.
Wow.
£15 investment to sound 100 times more professional than everybody else. You know, get yourself a microphone, get yourself a professional space in the backdrop. Those documents that I talked about, mine have already been made because I was already in a digital mindset. I read a book called Digital Darwinism a while back, and it was all about being prepared for the changes in digital technology. So I already have my welcome emails made. I already have my automated systems. So a lot of people don't. You know, I've got a Dropbox account with all my files in. I've got shared folders with other personal trainers that I work with, so all the documents go to one place. I use a lot of cloud-based storage now, so I can be mobile. I can go and work in different countries if I need to. So like I said, it's about being bulletproof. I can put this black backdrop which is behind me in any room in my house, and you still think I'm in the same place. You know, it's things like that. They're not hard concepts. Everything that I've told you so far, none of it costs more than 20 quid, apart from the microphone probably. So there's things like that I just think people just need to be more aware of. It's, you know, why can't you have this hybrid approach where you're doing a weekly check-in call with your clients on Zoom, but also having a one-to-one session in the gym? I think you'll pick up more clients if you have a mixture of digital and face-to-face than even the one. I mean, how many people are going to want to come for 4 sessions per week now? They either can't afford it, they might have lost a job, they might have been on furlough. You're going to open up the gyms when the sunshine starts coming out, so people are going to be wanting to go drinking, and everyone's gasping for a holiday and all these things. All these things actually mean when the gyms open, people aren't going to be in them, and that's what other people aren't also factoring in. There's a reason why they're opening near Easter, because the weather's better. Well, if you're like me, as soon as the weather gets nice and warm and sunny, I'd rather go outside. I'd rather take my TRX down the park and do some work and do some sprints on the field, because I can't do that in December.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion, but I just think that there will be more people going to the gym than ever before because people want to get healthy. There'll be a demand for health. But if they get there and you've not got a decent enough service to warrant personal training, you're not even going to be at the races. Just nowhere near.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway.
So what time did you say you had to shoot off? Was it 1:30? Or was it 1?
Yeah, well, it was any time now. But to be honest, my mate I'm doing it with, we can just do another. We can reschedule my next meeting, so we'll just carry on.
So Mark,
not a problem.
Do you want to masturbate?
Well, I masturbated last time with Tanya, so technically it's your turn. But do you mind masturbating with Marvin? He's very good.
I suppose so. I mean, he is known for his abilities. So I think, yeah, I like a challenge.
Can you just define what you mean by this?
I've got faith in you. So, Marvin, this is the mass debate section where I've got 3 terms left from the 20 that we started off with. I'm going to pick one at random. You are going to pick a hand. Pick a hand, any hand.
The one with the ring on it, which is your left. My right is my left.
So, the topic will be determined by the highly scientifical process, and then I am going to decide which one of you is going to argue for the topic and which one will argue against. It's very flippant and sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek, and you have got, well, it's quite topical actually, spinning, or I'll probably broaden that to studio cycling, because as we know, spinning is a brand, not the actual thing. So studio cycling. And I think I want to hear Marvin.
Don't say it, Mark.
Debate against studio cycling.
Okay.
So therefore, Josh, you are going to have 60 seconds to tell me why studio cycling is the best thing since sliced bread. And Marvin, you are going to tell me why studio cycling is a fucking car crash.
Got it.
Joshua, your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay, so the reason that studio cycling is amazing, it's the best thing in the fitness industry, in my opinion, is because it's super accessible. You can go to any gym in the country pretty much, and you can go and get a good high intensity workout with
Have you tried moving a pile of fucking spin bikes? Jesus.
I have, actually, I have. And it's low impact, so it's accessible from an injury perspective. You know, you've got bad hips or knees or back, then, you know, studio cycling could be for you. The level of instructor quality is so high because it's so highly regulated. You know, not anyone can just go and do a course on studio cycling and qualify, you know, so that's really good. The other thing is it's very high intensity, so we can work across a range of abilities. It's highly adaptable. You can have 20 people in a room, they can all be different, but doing a great workout. And that is now 1 minute. Boom.
Hey, Marvin, yeah, such a vary. You can either sit down or stand up. It like the options are endless. Marvin, you've got 60 seconds. Tell me why studio cycling is so terrible. Why is Josh wrong?
Firstly, you mentioned backs there and hips and knees, but the problem is everyone knows that when you ride a bike, there's movement in the frame, whereas on a fixed bike, there isn't. Therefore, you're going to aggravate your SI joint and you're going to ruin your hip flexors, which you're going to overactivate to even move the pedals. Secondly, it's on a fixed wheel, which also isn't a real bike. So there actually isn't going to be any carryover to actually using a chain and a real gear shaft. The resistance that you're trying to replicate of going up hills isn't really realistic because everyone knows on a bike, when you go up a hill, you lower your gears, you don't put them up. So it's not actually doing what you think it's doing. You're pushing against a false image. The next thing is you're in a hot room. So there's going to be poor air circulation, which is going to breed bacteria, which nobody really wants. And the heat in there as well is going to starve oxygen to your brain, which makes you quite thick. And lastly, there's no wind factor either, which all cyclists wear Lycra for a reason, because it provides them with a smooth transition through air, which you don't get indoors.
Cool. Not bad. If one of you had mentioned either the positive or negative aspect of having someone else's arse crack 2 inches away from your nose in the middle of a class, then you would have won it. But you both missed out on the opportunity. So I'm going to have to call it a draw.
It's not a draw. But I
Why
tell
is
you
it
what,
not a draw then, Marvin?
because there's no real good reason for it. But what I would say is we're going to keep it a draw. We're going to keep it a draw. I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. I've got valid reason, but the actual reality is cyclists go outside and cycle, and runners go outside and run. So you're not trying to actually sell science to an indoor cycling person. You're trying to sell enjoyment. So that arse crack in your face actually might be a reason to go to the class.
Enjoyable.
Enjoyable. Depends whose arse crack it is.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. I'm not fussed.
Sweaty arse cracks.
We all have our fetishes.
We'll leave it at that.
So the purpose of the mass debate section, not only because I enjoy saying that, but it's to show that you're going to get people who fucking love studio cycling in this example. Replace that with any fitness word. You're going to get people who love it, and then you're going to get people who hate it. And now, by the nature of the world we live in, those two people, firstly, have to hate each other for thinking something differently. They then have to set aside at least an hour and a half a day to tell everyone why they hate the other people so much. And the point of the mass debate section is that there's this point of view and there's this point of view, and there's no right or wrong answer. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But just fucking don't ruin your day over it.
That's right. Or someone else's. It's not no need.
Oh no, ruin other people's day, man. That's the whole point. Just don't ruin your own day.
There's a place for everything, Mark.
Self-preservation.
There is. You heard it here first. Marvin says there's a place for everything.
There is.
So, Mark, I reckon we should skip the UK PT's questions for today. And I think we should finish on false, true. What do you think?
Well, there was one question that I just wanted to get Marvin's take on from the. Should we do that first?
I think I know what you're going to say, but yes, go for it.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna go against the grain. Right, I've just opened the UK PT group and it's the first one on there, which tells me that it's probably still got people yapping away at it. And there's no fault of the person who's asked the question, because I understand why he's asked it. And I have 100% asked the same question every day myself. So the question is, if you haven't seen it, Marvin, a guy called Paul Jowsey, it's a good question. And he says, is it just me? But why are half of the posts on here PTs asking how to train their own clients? Then he says, if you don't know or you don't have the knowledge on how to help them, maybe don't take the money off them in the first place, or refer out to someone that does know how to help them. Facebook posts surely cannot be how you then program or help a client. Devil's advocate time. I understand 100% where he's coming from, because he's right. If you have to go into a Facebook forum to ask how to do your job, chances are there's something lacking in your skill set. On the other hand, you've got a lot of people chirping up, sort of supporting the fact that people should be able to come in and ask questions, and maybe they're just looking for they're looking for confirmation that what they were thinking was correct. And I would be interested just to know your stance on it, Marvin.
Yeah, I agree with the latter. I think it's a bit harsh to say that you shouldn't be taking money off people. I mean, how many times have you been to a doctor and they've gone to get a second opinion? Or, I mean, even to a point where I've been in a doctor's room before, they've used Google to find things. You can't, it doesn't matter. Your brain's complex anyway, and it holds a lot of information, but you can't hold absolutely everything. And I think that the thing is about working fitness is there's so many different theories and there's so many different sciences that sometimes you want to ask, and you're right. You can't be tarnished for asking for help, because personal training can be a very lonely career. There's got to be somewhere you can go and ask for support. And the amount of times someone's come to me and I've gone, well, I've tried this, I've tried that, and I'm going to ask other people to see what they think. I don't see that being a problem, because you're only trying to find a different approach to the same thing. We're all trying to get to the same common goal. But that doesn't mean every time someone comes to me and asks me a PT related question, I'm going to go, I don't know, so don't give me any money. That's not how the business works. You know, the architect doesn't build your house. The architect measures it, then asks the builder to come and do the job as well. So it's still the same service, essentially. It's a part of it. So, you know, if I had a client before that I was trying to help and their injury came to a point where I couldn't help them, I might say, I want you to go and see this physio for a couple of sessions, then come back. And then that's a referral. That's how it works. That's how the industry should work. You should be able to work with other health professionals to make your service even better. I don't see the problem with going on a Facebook group and asking a question. But I also think that even if you think that, I mean, it depends on what the question is. If it's a question that's really obvious, you think you really should know that for your level 2 and level 3 course, I think they've got grounds for it. But having a forum where people can openly say, I'm doing this, I've got this client that's doing that, but I'm seeing this, that's normal practice. There are doctors groups for that. There are osteopath groups for that. So why are we so arrogant? I'm using that word again. Why would we be so arrogant to say that we can't, as fitness professionals, ask each other for training advice? I mean, because, you know, if your expertise on Olympic weightlifting and someone's trying to improve their whatever, but they've came to you, me referring to Mark Laws, who knows more about Olympic lifting than me, might be great, but that client came to me for a reason, because they want to train with Marvin. That's it. So by referring to Mark, am I helping the client, or am I actually doing what they don't want? So you've got to, there's a lot of balancing act here, and it's true. I think you're right to give both sides the argument. It just depends on the context of what the question is. But overall, I wouldn't look at a forum with personal trainers asking questions and go, God, these guys are all thick, because that's a very arrogant, almost like a bullying mentality of, oh, I'm better than everybody else. You're not the oracle of health. No one is. And there's always methods that you can pick up from other people. You know, if you knew everything, I have this all the time. We talked before this program about different health conferences around the world, and it always seems to be the same people and same faces that talk, and we never hear anyone from a diverse community. You guys know enough about Australia, and I don't know, I've never even been there. It's one of the places I haven't been, but I'd like to. There's a native cult of people called Aboriginals, and those Aboriginals have lived for generations without any medical care, no phones, no nothing, and some of the most dangerous insects and animals in the world are in those bushes. But yet they lead a healthy lifestyle. They've got not a dentist. They don't go for a health check. There's all different ways they've learned to survive. Same with Chinese medicines. You know, some of those night markets I went to, and it's got so many different forms of mushrooms you've never seen or heard of, and you put a bit of a rat's tail and a snake's skin and a bat's wing, and you come up with this medicine, and all of a sudden it cures all these diseases. The point I'm trying to get to is you've got to ask or speculate to accumulate. And sometimes you ask questions not because you don't know the answer, but because you want a different opinion. Because the way a physio would approach it is different to an osteo, which is different to a doctor, which is different to a personal trainer. They're not all wrong. They're just different opinions. Or another way of putting it, if anyone wants even simpler version, there's more than one way to get to London. There's, you know, you can bike it, you can run it, you can walk it, you can get a train, you can fly if you want. You know, there's hundreds of ways, but you'll also get to London. So whoever the PT is that's saying no one, you know, they shouldn't be doing that. It's not your right away to tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing, because all we want is to all get to the same destination. And that person, if he does know everything or she knows everything, it might be a good idea to say, actually, I can help you with that. Why don't I spend some time? Why don't we have a call online together? Why don't you help people rather than keep putting them down? It's a coward's way out, isn't it? You guys are all thick. I'm better than you. Just don't go on there. Don't go on there if you don't like it. So that's my opinion.
Nice. Love it.
The other one is, if he knows his address, we'll go around and sort him out, because that's the way we sorted things out when I was a kid. I'd batter him. It's a white eye coach.
I'm glad I asked, and I'm glad you said what you said. And it's sort of, I get the key thing in all of this is the context. So we don't know what posts he's seen that he's specifically referring to. They might be like the most fucking retarded questions ever that person should not be doing the job and charging money for it. But it's the beauty of two-dimensional posts on a Facebook thread. You've got no context, no tone, you've got no background, have you? So I just think it is important to play both sides of the story. 100% I see where he's coming from. I've seen some people ask, they say there's no such thing as a stupid question, but fuck me, I've seen some people ask some stupid questions. But then on the other hand, you need to have an environment where people aren't scared to ask a question. And the context of asking a question, as you say, Marvin, might not be because I don't know the answer at all. It might be that I know what I've already deemed to be my answer, but I'm just intrigued in case there's a better answer that someone else can add in front of me that I can then progress my own career from. And that's a crucial thing. As an industry, we need that to evolve, but there is a balance between, there's going to be some numpties doing the job who shouldn't be, but there's also going to be some people who are probably scared to ask for help because they think they're going to get bullied or embarrassed. And in actual fact, there's a very fine line between the two where as an industry we can improve massively.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this. It's that last thing on that, but I went to a gym not so long ago, and the owner was a very successful business person, and he'd employed somebody in sales, young lady, didn't really come from more of a retail background, if I'm honest, not really like a gym membership sales background, didn't really know much about the industry, but she had an interest in there. So the intent was there. And he just spent time telling me how bad she was. She didn't know this, she didn't that. And he followed it all with, when I was their age, I did X, Y, and Z. And he got right to the end and let him have his sort of word. And then at the end of it, I just said, have you ever thought of just teaching them? Have you ever thought of just taking to the side and teaching her what you know? Because you're the person that's the owner with all the experience, with all the credibility, with all the good examples. And you've got someone that doesn't have any of that, but they still turn up to work every day and they still want to work for you and they still have an interest. So doesn't that show you enough about them? That person's still gone on to a forum. They've still done a qualification. They've still posted the question. They're doing everything to say, I just need a bit of help and guidance. And it'd be easier to just say, you're stupid, you're thick. And if that's the case, whoever that person is, don't ever have kids. Because I can't look at my 2-year-old daughter and say, you're stupid because you can't talk. You're stupid because you can't do it, because she can do most of the things, if I'm honest. But the point is, you're not really living up to what our industry stands for, of helping people. If you're saying I'll only help you if you pay me, it's the wrong attitude to have. You've got to be willing to help everybody and all types of people in all situations. So that's all I'd say. That person just needs to just take 5 minutes before they start posting replies, because they're the kind of unkind comments and remarks which have actually seen people leave the industry, or even worst case scenarios, some people have actually had severe mental. It contributes to already low self-esteem and maybe an anxiety issue that's much deeper than what you think. So I'll turn this into the Tony Robbins show, where you tell me I want help with PT and I say, how's your relationship with your dad? And then you start crying. But 9 times out of 10, it does relate back to something like that. But don't ever discount how much it takes some people to. It's easy for us. We're 3 confident guys. We'll come on a podcast. We don't really prep for it. We'll just have a chat. Sorry to let the cat out of the bag, but we can just talk about it because that's our industry and it's what we love, and the passion comes across naturally. For some people, this would have been a nervous wreck. They would have been so anxious and nervous to do this. It would have been. So we've got to be humble enough as well to say it's not that easy. It needs a bit of practice, but we all get there and we can help you. So if that person, whoever it is struggling, and they're on Facebook or wherever it's been asked, and they've got me on there, ask me the question, because I don't mind jumping on a call with you and helping you. Absolutely no, and you're not even giving me any money. I don't want any money whatsoever for it, because my aim in this industry isn't to be the Marvin the millionaire. It's just to be Marvin the person that can help people. It doesn't matter if you're a client, friend, or anything else. And otherwise, I wouldn't be on the show with you guys. So, how's that for a mic drop?
Boom! I'll cancel that check that I've just written for your time. Then we'll do this as a freebie. Thank you, Marvin.
Yeah,
mate, it's a great answer. Yeah, tied in with what I was thinking. And if there was somebody who saw that post who then was shitting themselves about not asking a question tomorrow, hopefully this has helped them to think, actually, no, I can do, whether it's privately to one of us or whether it is publicly. But then on the other hand, if there is somebody who is asking stupid questions, stop it. Marvin said, don't ask stupid questions.
But it's that Facebook is the place to make your mistakes. So the thing I would say, make 101 of them.
Marvin, before we finish, it's the final section, false, true.
Okay.
Could you please read us your 3 statements, and myself and Josh will guess which one is true.
Yeah, it was a difficult one because I know that you know bits and bobs about me, so I tried to make it as unclear as I could to throw you off scent. Okay, first one is, I'm Chris Eubank's second cousin. Number 2, I've held up multiple flights which have stopped on the runway to await my arrival. Number 3, I've delivered the Great North Run and the London Marathon official warm-ups.
Oh, Josh.
I'm going to go with the second statement about the flights being held up is true. I think you said earlier on that you've traveled a lot, you've been back and forth to China. So I think the likelihood of you holding up some flights could be quite true.
Well, just say the second one again, Marvin, just so
I've held up multiple flights which have stopped on the runway to await my arrival.
So as in the plane was due to leave, you weren't on it and they've stopped so you can get on it, climbing up the ladder, shimmying up the wheel to clamber in.
Yep. Through the pilot's entrance. Boom.
Yeah. You've shimmied up a few pilots' entrances. Are you Chris Eubank's second cousin? You're not even looking at me when I've said that, because you know, I reckon like you're probably
poker facing it, or whole thing.
No, you're looking down and to the left. No. That's textbook lying.
That's why I've written it down, you numpty.
Textbook lying, and where Marvin keeps his notes.
Yeah, but I wrote them all down and reading them word for word on purpose so that there's no discrepancies in my presentation.
Good effort.
All right, I think
you're right.
You've probably got a second cousin that is a well-known name, but I'm going to say it's not Chris Eubank. Have you done the official warm-up for the London Marathon? I'm going to go for the last one. Fuck it. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to go for the last one.
Are you sure?
No.
Both of you? That's both of you.
Yeah, Josh has gone for B. I've gone for C.
There was a fourth one, actually, which was...
Go on then, do the fourth one.
I run my own foam rolling workshops.
No, that's definitely false.
Right, the correct answer was number 2.
Oh, well played,
Josh.
Josh.
Is good. Do you know what? He's a silent assassin. He sat there and listened to me and you gabble on. He's just sitting, picked out all the key things. And when he said that, you mentioned travel, I thought, damn, gave away too much.
No. Give us some context on each one then. Any truth in the other two?
No, nothing to do with Chris Eubank. I just watched the programme about him the other night. First name that come to my head. And then the third one, I've done many warm-ups anyway, but not the Great North Run or the London Marathon. But if you would have pried in a little bit, you could have said which one, because the London Marathon's it starts at different parks, so it could have been 3 or 4 different destinations. So
and you got the elite section, the housewife section, the blokes in the diving suit section. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was C, but that's why I went for it, because I thought you were going to throw me a proper curveball.
Probably the most realistic one out of the 3 would have been that one. But the flights were, the first one was a strange one. When I worked on a cruise ship, the first ship I went to was Ocean Village, and they put me on there because there was already a personal trainer that worked in the gym, and they put me in there for a bit of. They knew the spa manager that oversaw the gym was a guy called Nick, and he was a fitness guy. So they thought, well, if I send him to that ship for his first sort of contract, he can learn the ropes, because eventually we wanted to go to his own ship and do it all. So they sent me to the ship. And without any prior warning or anything, I just delivered a fitness class. I was literally in the showers, and Nick manager, Kieran, called, Marvin, you in there? Yeah. He went, go and pack your bags. In 30 minutes, you're leaving. I can't remember what country we were in. It was at one end of the Caribbean, and I was going to St. Lucia, which was on completely the other side of it wasn't St. Lucia, it was Grenada, the complete other side of the Caribbean Ocean. And he said, go and get your bags packed. You're going. You got to go in 30, 40 minutes. I'm like, what? Just like that. So I was like, okay, bye everyone. Got dressed, ran to the room, got all my bags, get down. You have to go down to the crew office, get your passport, all your bits. Just go down. There's a guy saying, you Marvin? Yep, get in the car. Gets there, takes me on a tender boat, because wherever we were. I ended up in St. Lucia Airport, and it's pretty much one computer screen, like the old-fashioned thick ones with green writing on it that says years ago, this is when you're connecting flights to Grenada. It was only on tiny little planes. I'm sitting there, I think, great, I've got 2 hours. So I go and sit down, put music in. I'm just sitting there, just waiting for 2 hours, nothing to do. And then for some reason, I just took them off. Marvin, Burton, over the town. I'm thinking, what's going on? So I go down. Your flight? I'm like, yeah, but it's not for another hour. But no. Everyone was here early, so we just thought we'd go now. Typical Caribbean. So I walked over and they're like, where is it? They go, it's there. Oh, well, that aeroplane over there. Walk across the runway. No one with me. None of this will shepherd you over. Walk across the runway, up the steps, open the door. Everyone on the plane just sat looking at me, all locals who were wanting to kill me. I sat on this little plane, just never said a word. Took me, got off of there and legged it. That was the first one. And the second one was we'd finished a course in Malaysia, and the flight that was on was leaving in 45 minutes. Taxi's outside, and the guy who used to do all our courses for us, he met us after the course. Sorry, it was Taiwan and was getting to Malaysia. Was it the way around? No, it was the way around. It's going in 45 minutes. Well, okay, how far is the airport away? 15 kilometers. I'm going, right, hold on a minute. We've got to drive to the airport, check in. The flight's gone in 45 minutes. The next bit, you're never going to believe. He went, don't worry, I've got a good driver for us. We mounted curbs. We went through red lights. We went round people walking on the pavement at literally 80, 90 miles per hour. It was like the scene from Die with a Vengeance with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis when they're hanging on the taxi and they're going over the park. It was exactly like that. But he's got this Beatles music on at the same time. It's a really slow song. Do, 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 as we it was unbelievable. We get to the airport, the flight's boarded, and the guy that does our course with us, he's Singaporean millionaire. I don't know what he was, but he had this little stamp on his passport. He went, open the flight and check these two on. The woman on the desk gone, that flight's boarded, closed an hour ago. All the bags are on. He went, go on your computer, open up the check-in, check me and my business partner Gav, check these two in, take the bags, and we'll meet you at the airplane. He just told the woman, and she didn't. She's like looked at him. He showed her his passport, and she went down the computer, opened it up, booked us on this flight, called the security guard, walked us past everyone, did a security check, walked us straight to the plane, walked on, everyone's on it. And we sat down and he just went, Marvin, Gavin, see you later. Went. I was like, what? It was the weirdest thing ever.
Mate, you've got to love Asia. I remember this guy, ex-pro, Don O'Riordan, played for Derby actually, signed for Derby under Brian Clough years and years ago. Anyway, I worked with him out in China, and he told a story about being out for dinner, like a typical Chinese banquet dinner, with an old Chinese professional footballer, a guy called Marvin, who's like, imagine sort of like a David Beckham, or like some icon from the 80s, 90s, like a Gary Lineker type. He's like an absolute legend. And Don at the dinner, but he had to get a flight. And he's like, flight goes in 2 hours. He's like, come on, flight's in 2 hours. He's like, no, gambe. Like, keep drinking your Chinese white wine. Flight goes in an hour and a half. I need to get going. He's like, Don, no problem. I think he's got a Jamaican twang. And then, anyway, you get closer. You get closer and closer to being like, literally, the plane goes in half an hour, and he's like, I've missed the flight. Gets to about 25 minutes to go, and they go and get in the car. The car drives up the wrong way up dual carriageways, left, right, and centre. Doesn't go to the airport. Goes all the way around the back to the airfield. Marvin winds down the window, tells security to open the gate. The fucking gate opens like the Red Sea. They drive onto the runway, up the runway next to the plane, and then he's like, bye Don, see you, bye, and off he goes. And Don's like, he hasn't even shown his passport, he hasn't checked in, he's literally just been dropped off on the runway next to the plane, and off they go. China, you've got to love it.
It's just common, that's just normal day practice in Southeast Asia. This is the amount of stories we've got. It's so funny, the things that used to happen to us in like all those different countries. I was on Olympic coach when we had a training session, and the sort of, imagine like the hotel's here, the training ground's here, but it's like a motorway going that way. So to get back, we'd have to go all the way down about 3 junctions, round, fucking pain in the arse. The bus driver, with a bus full of about 30 Chinese Olympic athletes in the Beijing 2008 Olympics, the bus driver turns left, head on into the fucking 4 lanes of traffic, and just creeps along the hard shoulder and pulls into the hotel. Yeah, and see it all the time.
No one batted an eyelid. Yeah. I'm sitting, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? We've got 30 fucking Olympic athletes competing tomorrow, and it's like no one fucking gave a shit. No one cared.
I love it when other people are, because if you told your mates all that, they'd go, he's exaggerating that. But when I say the kind of stuff that happens, then someone else say it, it reassures you that you've definitely not gone mad. Because some of the stuff that happens, it's just, they're the basics. It's just out of this world, but so funny.
I remember my first probably 2-3 weeks in China, I didn't leave the block that I lived on. There was like this big old block where my apartment was, and there was a Subway and a Pizza Hut on there. And that's the only places I went, because I didn't dare cross the road. And probably on the first day, I was walking around with Don, showing me around, and he was like, "Just need to be careful, keep your eyes open." I'm like, "What for?" And it was like, "Traffic." I was like, "Yeah, but we're on the pavement." He's like, No. It's like, if the lights are red, if someone can't be asked to wait, then they'll just go on the pavement and go round. And I was like, fuck off. About 3 minutes later, a fucking car comes up tooting behind us because he couldn't be bothered to wait at the red lights. And he then went round the corner on the curb. the fucking wrong way, and I'm like, this is fucking chaos. I didn't leave the one block for about a month.
But
It's
picture
fucking
this
ridiculous.
though. You went 2008, was it 2007, 2008?
8, 9, 10 I was there, yeah.
So I was there 2017 to 18. The only difference is when you was there, they hadn't invented electric cars and motorbikes. Exactly the same. You can't hear them. You can't hear them. That's the problem. So you literally turn around, there's a family on the back of a motorbike in a star formation wanting to get past. Because you know what they're like. Literally, mum, dad, grandma's on it, cats in a basket, 3 boxes, and they're all balancing on this moped. And you start
with like a 4-year-old girl sitting on the back doing her homework at about 30 on the motor, and she's like sitting there reading a book or something,
or driving.
But I think we got a photograph of 7 people on one moped.
Yeah, I've got loads of them.
Yeah.
I've got loads of photos of like so many people.
We're going to have to try and do that in the car park at Body Power now. See if we can get 7 PTs on a moped.
On a moped, yeah. That could be like the new phone box challenge. How many people can we rag it round the exhibit hall on a moped with? I'll pitch it, and if it gets accepted, we'll do it. Me and you, we can be the first 3. Although if you two are built like brick shit houses, I don't think we're going to get many more.
Yeah, with some tiny little people.
Yeah, tiny little Chinese people. Anyway, Marvin, we've digressed slightly, but it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Guys. Yes, I never thought we'd film more than 10 minutes, but we definitely did.
A little bit over 10 minutes. I reckon we're coming up to maybe 20 minutes.
It took me 10 minutes to do the quickfire questions.
It took 10 minutes to answer the phone rolling question 4 times.
Your
and you
hearing
still
error.
Don't even know that you've answered it.
I'm still unsure of my answer. I know that.
That's right. Well, you can always reflect on it when you listen back, and then you can put your correct answers in writing. Yeah.
I'll probably put at the bottom. If anyone doesn't know the answer to this, they probably shouldn't even be in the industry or taking any money.
Yeah. If people haven't learned anything other than that, then I don't know what show they've been listening to. Key takeaway for the whole thing. Anyway, Marvin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Good
Thanks
to
for having
catch
me
up with you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see you again sometime soon.
You will. See you guys. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. Don't forget to check back weekly for new episodes. If you want to join the UK's largest Facebook group for personal trainers, just search for UK PTs.